And he said, nonetheless, please tell me who she was. And the rabbi said she was Gila Hammer, to which immediately the maintenance man broke out crying. And he said, what, you know who Gila Hammer was? He said, of all the girls, that's the only girl who I do know. Gila Hammer was the one girl who every morning came over to me and said, Madua pnechem ra'im hayom? How are you today? Et achai anochi mivakesh. I have a vested interest in the people around me. And every morning he said she would offer me something to eat or something to drink. That's the one girl I did know. A man came into our shiva when we were sitting shiva. And he was, I didn't know who he was at all. It turns out that last Sukkot, when Gila was still alive a year ago, she had a desire to build a sukkah. And she told my wife, I'd like to build a sukkah. My wife said, sure, no problem. Let's see if we could find something. Turns out there circulated a text amongst her chaverim, her chevra from Bnei Akiva, that there was a man who broke both of his legs and he needed his sukkah built. So Gila went together with 2 or 3 other friends. They built the sukkah for him. Man walks into our shiva and he tells me, I said, I didn't know who you are. He said, well, I'll tell you. He said, I'm a cab driver here in Beit Shemesh. And I just brought a woman here to this house and I saw tons of people standing out in the garden and I asked her why. And she said, a young girl died. And this is the house, the family where they're sitting shiva. And he said, what was her name? And she said, Gila Hammer. It's over there on the sign. He said, wait, I remember that name. He said, I must go inside. And he told us, your daughter was one of the people who came to build my sukkah. But what was unique about her was that of all the children, I remember her name because she was the one kid who was whistling and singing and dancing while she built the sukkah itself. And he said, but you want to hear what was really remarkable about her? He said, when Sukkot was over, she was the only child who called me to ask if I wanted her to take the sukkah down. That's et achai anochi mivakesh. Madua pnechem ra'im hayom. The attribute of Yosef, the attribute upon which Am Yisrael is built. The last night before Gila died, she went with our younger son, her little brother. They went to daven at the kotel. And after the davening, she went and bought a big bag of candies. And Yisrael said to her, why'd you buy these candies? You figured they bought them to eat on the bus on the way home. She said, no. She said, I bought these candies because now we're going to take all of them. And we're going to give them out to all of the homeless people in the old city. Et achai anochi mevakesh. And this was who Gila was, even in the deep, dark pit of being imprisoned, in the walls of darkness, in her own despair. Her concern was with others and how she could help those around her. One of the questions that was posed to me by a friend, I have a friend who lives down south, and a few months ago, his father died, Rahman al-Itzlan. So I called him up and I told him I can't make it down, but I want to at least be Menachem Avil on the phone. He said to me, Reb Shalom, he said, for me to bury my father, it's sad, but it's not tragic. It's the way of the world. But for you to bury a daughter, for you to bury a child, that is not acceptable. That is not normal. He said, Ani lo mevin ech ata mamshich lichyot. I do not understand or comprehend how you can possibly continue to live. And I said to him, I'll tell you. The Gemara in Brachot, which learned just a little while ago in Daf Yomi, on Daf Yurchet Amud Aleph, Elu tzadikim shebemitatan nikreu chayim. Tzadikim, righteous people, are people who even after they are physically deceased and no longer with us physically, they are very much and remain alive amongst us. Vayelech Moshe, Rashi comments, nothing. He just writes, Vayelech Moshe, a repeat of the exact words in the pasuk. Rav Moshe Feinstein explains that Rashi's coming to teach us that there are certain people in this world who have such impact on our existence, who have such effect on their teachings to us, that they continuously walk amongst us, even when they are physically no longer here. That is what it means. Tzadikim shebemitatan nikreu chayim. Righteous people continue to live amongst us based on the legacy and the teachings and the lessons and the morals and the values that they have imbued inside of us from their lives, and how they've impacted us to continue to live ours. And the Torah tells us a very interesting thing, because if we return to the story of Yosef ve'achav, we all know there's a happy ending. The brothers discover, Yosef discover that Yosef is alive. And when they come to tell Yaakov Avinu, it says in Bereshit Perek Memhei, Vayagidu lo lemor, Od Yosef chai, v'chihu moshel b'chol eretz Mitzrayim. They tell Yaakov Avinu, Yosef is still alive, and he is the leader, the viceroy of the Egyptian empire. And only then it says, Vatechi ruach Yaakov Avihem. Yaakov Avinu's spirit is revived, resuscitated, rejuvenated once again. And the question is, why is it that the brothers have to tell Yaakov that Yosef is alive, and he is also the leader of Egypt? Is that so important? Was it not sufficient? Was it not enough for Yaakov to hear that Yosef is alive? And that's it. What I would give for 2 minutes to be able to see Gila, to be able to talk to her, to ask her that she's okay, to make sure that she's all right. I would give anything for that opportunity. To be told that your child is still alive, that's sufficient. Why then is Yaakov's spirit only uplifted after he hears that Yosef is the leader, Moshel, Bechol Eretz Mitzrayim, of Egypt? And we know, sure enough, that Yaakov Avinu was 22 years where he completely believed that Yosef was no longer, that Yosef was not alive. And if I were to ask you, what exactly did Yaakov do during that time? How did he spend his time? What did he build? What did he establish? The answer is that during those course of 22 years, Yaakov did absolutely nothing. He raised his hands in defeat, and he said, my son is no longer here. I cannot continue to live. And yet his spirit is lifted after he's told that Joseph is alive and that Yosef is Moshel B'chol Eretz Mitzrayim. Why? And I saw a fascinating insight, which is written by the Oznaim LaTorah. This is the great Rav Sorotskin, who was a Rav in Yerushalayim. And he says like this, Yadua shetzadikim nikreim chayim. We know that righteous people are consistently called alive. V'ashvatim shechipsu et Yosef bashuk shel zonot chashvu she'anar itbolel b'mitzrayim shtufei zima. Unbelievable. The brothers go down to Egypt. And when they go down to Egypt to search, to get food because of the famine, it's fascinating. They say to themselves, you know what? We're going down to Egypt. We might as well check if our brother Yosef is still alive. Let's see what his situation is. But where exactly do they look? The Oznaim LaTorah says, well, they said to themselves, he's been down here in the bowels of Egyptian society, the promiscuity that he must have experienced over 22 years. There's no doubt that Yosef has hitbolel, assimilated. He's become a complete Egyptian. And so they look for Yosef in the red light district of Mitzrayim. They look for Yosef in Las Vegas, only to find that Yosef is not there. Not only is Yosef the leader of Mitzrayim, but Yosef is still steadfast, alleged to his father's Masoret, to his father's legacy. Yosef is still very much Jewish. He's still very much observant. He's still very much cognizant of what it means to preserve a Jewish family and a Jewish tradition. And therefore, the brothers tell Yaakov that he's alive, but not only is he alive, Hu moshel bechol eretz Mitzrayim. He is spiritually intact as a Jew. He continues to be subservient to our Creator, to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to yours, Yaakov's legacy. He is moshel. He overrides eretz Mitzrayim. He oversees, and he has not succumbed to the trappings of Egyptian society. And then, when Yaakov learns that he's not only physically well, but that he is spiritually intact, that he is completely alleged to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to what he's learned in his father's home, Vatechi Ruach Yaakov Avihem. Yaakov's spirit is once again revived. Because tzaddikim, the righteous, are measured by their spiritual impact that they have in this world. And that is exactly the message that I want to transmit during this time of Aseret Yemei Tshuva. Our Gila, and this is the response that I gave to my friend when he said, I don't know how you continue to live. Gila was so vivacious. Gila was so vibrant. Gila had such a love for life. I told him, if I give up and I raise my hands in defeat, then what if I gained? In the end of the day, Gila will have died twice. But no, the word Gila not only means happiness and rejoicing. The word Gila also, as I explained, comes from the word Gal Ya. Legalot Ya. To reveal HaKadosh Baruch Hu. To reveal God's presence in this world. And that is precisely what she did then. And it's precisely what she continues to do now. Tzadikim b'mitatan nikraim chayim. They continue to live amongst us based on what they've taught us. And if indeed, my friends, during this time, a time of Aseret Yemei Tshuva, and it's no wonder that the Rambam clearly tells us based on the Gemara, that when it comes to all of the sins that exist between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ya'aseh tshuva v'yichaper lo. If we do tshuva, we repent, HaKadosh Baruch Hu forgives, no problem. But not ben adam l'chavero. When it comes to man's rapport with man, with his fellow, there we are required lefayes et chavero, to beseech et achai anochi mivakesh. I desire, I have compassion, I have sensitivity with my brethren. I long to once again, shlom achecha, to be as one with them, to unite with them, to demonstrate compassion towards them. And if we learn how to do that, the Gila way, if we learn how to use Gila's example of Madua Pnechem Ra'im Hayom, to look around us and to ask people, how are you today? Not just superficially. Why so down? Why so serious? What can I do for you? Good morning to you. Can I bring you something to eat? Can I bring you something to drink? If we learn this from our Gila, then Gila continues to be very much alive in each and every one of us. And sure enough, if we learn to embrace the principle, the foundation of this, what the Torah is predicated upon, Maaseh Avot Siman Labanim, Derech Eretz, how we relate to one another during this Corona time when we find ourselves by ourselves. But when we learn how to appreciate our neighbors, our family, our colleagues, our friends, if we can learn to accentuate that, then yes, we will reveal the Tselem Elokim that exists in each and every one of us. And as a result of revealing that Tselem Elokim, that small taste of God, we will be able to move from Ben Adam L'Chavero to a greater demonstration of Ben Adam L'Makom, of our relationship with our Creator above. And in Mir Hashem, as a result of that, we'll be zoche and privileged to have a Gemar Chatima Tova for us and all of Am Yisrael, between us, each other, and us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rabbi. Can you take any questions or?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, if anyone wants to ask a question, you want to unmute yourselves? Someone? Anyone interested in asking a question? It's such a deep thought that you gave us and very meaningful for us to carry through this year, at this time.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a thought that comes from Gila.
Yeah.
It came to us and continues to resonate with us to every day.
It's so sad that someone who is filled with so much life would want to end it. I know you do.
Well, that's something that requires explanation. It's a very, very difficult thing to come to terms with. Obviously, for us, continues to be deeply painful every moment of every day. But it's something that I will discuss with you, but it'd have to be in a live forum. Hopefully soon I'll be able to come and to offer that to all of you.
Could you just tell us, I don't know if this is something you can't just tell us, what are warning signs that we would know? Like when you say we should be concerned with our fellow man and ask them how they are and so on. So how?
Yeah, there are specific signs with regards to signs that would lead chas v'shalom to someone contemplating taking their own lives. But that's something that I give in the other presentation. It would have to be done live. I don't give it on video or Zoom for obvious reasons. It requires a lot of support, a lot of interaction, questions. But I think that the main key of what I'm trying to say here is that I think we just have to be more aware of our surroundings. And if anything that Corona teaches us, that would be one of the primary things that it does. And when we see people around us who might not look so good or might look a little down, particularly at this time when there's not that much social interaction, take advantage of that social interaction and make sure that that person's doing okay. And show them that you have a vested interest in their well-being.
There was a very famous story, very quickly, that I had heard that there was this boy in school who was very bright, and the other boys were jealous, and they always thought he was trying to make them look bad in class because he would be so smart. And one day they saw him carrying tons of books, and they said, "See that? He's taking all his books home so he can, make us all look bad." And he dropped them. And one of the boys went over and asked and picked them up and helped him carry the books home. And they started talking, and he realized this boy was very nice. And because of that, they became friends. And later, that boy blossomed and had a lot of friends and came out of himself. And he was the valedictorian. And at his speech, at the valedictorian, he said he was carrying all those books home to make it easier for his mother because he was going to kill himself that night. So his mother wouldn't have to clean out the locker. But because this boy helped him carry the books and spoke to him and befriended him, it changed everything. And his whole life.
There's no question that one of the greatest things that we could do for people who are in a depressed state is to demonstrate to them compassion, love, let them know that we're there, and not just by sending a text, but really going over to them and showing and saying, hey, I'm here for you, and there's reason to be here with me, because I'm here for you and with you for the long haul. So yeah, that's a beautiful story, and thank you for sharing that with us.
It's supposed to be a true story.
I'm assuming that there are no questions, so I will thank you very much for hosting me once again.
Thank
and
you.
I wish all of you a Gemar Chatima Tova, Besorot Tovot, and we should only hear good things. And I hope that we'll be able to meet again live, hopefully
Yes,
soon.
I hope so. I thank you. I also just want to take 1 minute, because I have people online here, just to tell that, we usually have an annual general meeting, but these days we haven't had that. Just to tell everybody that who the new board is for next year in our organization, to list the names. I'll be chair again. Flo, Aaron, Ruthie Brenowitz, Merle Fish, Jeanette Weinshell will all again be members at large. Cyril Levy and Gail Levy will be also serving. Cyril will be treasurer again. Gail will be board secretary again. Peggy Lieber is our corresponding secretary. She'll be doing that again. And we have 2 new members, Rochelle and Colin Samuel, have agreed to come onto the board. And hopefully we'll be doing programming. We're going to get together, have our Zoom board meeting, and hopefully we'll be bringing you more programs. We tried with Corona. We tried the walk-in movie just recently, and that got canceled. Just to reiterate that we have 144 members. We gave donations of 2,200 shekels this year to different charitable organizations in the money that we had. And we also had quite a few wonderful activities before everything shut down. September, we had a trip to Ashdod. November, we had a trip to the Netanya Planetarium. December, we went to Weizmann Institute and had a comedy Hanukkah party. January, we had a speaker on home safety. February, we had that wonderful talent show, which was our last major activity. March, we're supposed to do the historical tour of Beit Shemesh, and I still have hopes that we will do that soon, please God. But then we started to do things on Zoom, and we showed a Yom HaShoah video and a Yom HaTzmaut video. May, we had a Yom Yerushalayim program from Mizrahi that we sent out. June, we had a virtual tour of Israel by John T. Blackman. July, we had a program from Mizrahi for the 17th of Tammuz. August, we sent out virtual tours of 25 cities in Europe. Here we are now in September with our talk. And hopefully we'll be able to bring more things to you throughout the year and continue to function for everyone. So I thank you all. I wish you all Gemar Chatima Tova. And may we all have a much better year in the coming year. Bye.
Thanks, Edie. Thanks very much for everything. Thanks, Edie.
Who was that?
There will be a recording, by the way, available. If you want the recording, please write to me. And my email is edithdale@live.com.
What?
Just wanted to say thank you very much.
What is your email?
Edith Dale, all one word, at live, live.com. The Zoom makes a recording. I had it recording, so I can send it to you.
Edith, I didn't get the last part of your email.
Live,
Edith,
live.com.
no, that. Edith?
Edith
something.
Dale, all one word, D-A-L-E, Edith Dale.
D-A-L-E, thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for inviting us on board.
Thank you for joining the board.
Oh, thank you for asking us.
Okay, bye everyone.
Bye.
Yeah.
Are you